I'm Nick Seco from Home Right Windows and Doors, and we're located in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. So we do vinyl replacement windows, we do steel and fiberglass entry doors, we do aluminum storm doors, and we do sliding patio doors, all made by Provia. The windows are a vinyl replacement window, and it could be anything from double hungs to casements to bay and bow windows and everything in between. So when somebody calls in the office and needs an estimate, they get Roxanne on the phone typically, and she would schedule an appointment for me to come out and take some measurements, provide some literature, go through what options we have, and then I would follow up within about 24 to 48 hours with an estimate with all the details of the products as well as the installed price. I find that we're typically much more affordable than the companies that you see advertising on TV or in a lot of other places. If they're spending a lot of advertising dollars, obviously they're passing those costs on to their consumers. You could go to our website at homerightwaynesboro.com, or you could call us at 717-749-4874.
Local and live, covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk TriState.
Welcome to Let's Talk TriState, all powered by Home Right Windows and Doors in Waynesboro, the right choice, online at homerightwaynesboro.com. I'm joined today on our Meet the Mayor segment, as we're now calling it, Mayor of Smithsburg, Donnie Souders. Donnie, good to see you, buddy.
Hey, good to see you, sir.
Pleasure to have you back on Let's Talk Tri-State.
Always love coming back.
Yeah, and we are ready to just dive right in here, because as the months warm up this time of year, so do the events. And you've got a lot going on, which let's start with tonight. You said tonight's a big night at the Boxcars game.
It is. So Candy Blessing, or Stoneberger as she's known throughout Smithsburg, the young lady that won 3 medals over in Turin, Italy as part of the Winter Special Olympics, will be throwing out the first pitch. So a group of us did they're going to do a little pregame celebration for her and with her, and then be there as she throws out that first pitch.
That's awesome. Now, she is a Smithsburg native, correct?
She is a Smithsburg native, lives right on Main Street. You can't miss her. So
gotcha.
Her and her mom, you talk about the weather getting nice, her and her mom can always be found sitting on the front porch just enjoying those Smithsburg evenings.
Oh, okay, great. That's going to be an amazing evening. I wish I could be there to see it, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of pictures and video. And we didn't talk about this. As a matter of fact, I don't know that we've talked about this since you've been on Let's Talk Tri-State, but you have a good Facebook presence in the town of Smithsburg.
We try. So between each of us posting our own thing, the town having its own website, we've got a Visit Smithsburg website that kind of goes through all of those events, talks about past, present, and ideals for future events. So we try, and I believe our Parks Commission has its own Facebook page. So we really try to do the engagement. And, you know, it's a matter of actually, it's funny that you can have a ton of social media presence and platforms, but sometimes we in government forget that we have to communicate, that we have these kind of platforms. So we take for granted that we have it, but then, you know, we always hear the perpetual complaint of, hey, I didn't know this event happened, or I didn't know this meeting was going on tonight. So we're still trying to balance that, you know, equal out the presence versus the communication of such presence.
One of the organizations that I'm chairman of, we have a Facebook group page, and I tell everyone, okay, look, the Facebook page is a means of communication. It is not the only means or the official means, but you might as well say that it is, because everyone's on there. So when it's on there, man, it's done.
I remember having the conversation when I first got elected in 2008. So going back, I was on the council in 2008, having the conversation, because back at those times we had a monthly newsletter that we would have, the office would print up. We'd have volunteers. It was called The Trumpet.
Probably emailed as well.
Well, email not as much. We were very old school back then. We'd have volunteers that had
Chisholm and Stone.
Yeah, pretty much. Standing with tablets on top of a mountain, right? Sending out smoke signals.
Town crier.
It was pretty close. So it was called The Trumpet. We had it produced in the office. We had volunteers that would, you know, sector out the town and go deliver it door to door. And I remember having that conversation of, wait, everybody's getting their information from Facebook. And now, fast forward 10, 15 years later, Facebook is the outdated, you know, platform for a lot of information and social sharing. And it's your Instagrams, it's your TikToks, it's all these other things. And here the town is still struggling with how do we compete with a changing platform to where we need it to be to get the information out.
Still trying to figure out Facebook, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, sometimes I think I put a post up or I go to make an editor correction, and it always seems to go to the end of your post where, you're trying to fix a word or whatever.
You're preaching to the choir here.
So we are actually in the process. It's funny. We're in the process. We just updated our website about 1.5 2 years ago, and we're in the process of actually having a trifold that'll go in with the water bills called the Trumpet. So we're kind of giving the homage to the past and still doing something by paper, but yet still trying to figure out those active social platforms that we can engage and communicate with.
Well, very good. So we have the event tonight, Boxcar Stadium.
We do.
What else is on the horizon for Smithsburg? Or hang on, I should have started with this. What has transpired since we last talked to Smithsburg? Anything notable?
Well, from a governmental standpoint, we got our FY26 budget done. So our water, sewer, and general fund budgets are completed. Unfortunately, we do, just so your listeners know, we don't own our own infrastructure. We purchase our water from the city of Hagerstown. We then distribute it to our customers. So we did have to do a 7% rate increase there, which is half of what the city was charging us. And then we had to do a 3.5% increase on the sewer, again, because we are a partner with the county. So we got our budgets done, they're out of the way. Now the fun stuff, we just had Smithsburg Days this past weekend. They had vendors, they had crafts, they had all sorts of different events for all ages throughout town, culminating with Everrise Band playing in the evening and then fireworks to follow that.
Smithsburg Days is always such a great community event.
It is. It used to start out as 3 days. It's kind of shrunk down to that Saturday. I know the weather, wasn't the greatest in the morning, but it kind of, made itself way through. And then we've got a couple events coming up, here in the month of June. So we're going to have June 21st is going to be our Celebrate the Burg. Our Economic Development Commission is going to put this event on downtown Smithsburg. And it's kind of like a pub crawl without the pubs. So you can actually go throughout downtown Smithsburg and all of Smithsburg and just get some information and learn about the burg. So there'll be hay rides, there'll be visits to the Historical Society, there'll be visits to our businesses, there'll be a scavenger hunt, and I believe they're also going to do some sort of trivia around 3 o'clock that day. So it's really an opportunity for those that live in town that may not know some of the history of the town, and those that have never been to come explore what Smithsburg has to offer.
Smithsburg's a treasure. An absolute treasure.
It is. And we're like a lot of the communities in this region, right, that are always struggling to get more people. We're off the beaten path. If those that are listening or watching remember the movie Cars, when Route 66, was bypassed through, we're the same thing. So we don't have that downtown influx of like a Hagerstown or Boonesboro or Funkstown has. But we're trying to capture those different people to come in and visit and learn and explore and maybe one day make Smithsburg their home.
I dare say that you have, while you are essentially closer to Hagerstown, Boonesboro in a way, probably a lot more visitors are from Waynesboro in that area.
You'd be amazed. I know we get a lot of PA residents that love to blow through the speed camera. We do see a lot of those. So we do get an influx of folks coming in from PA. We do. We get... And, we've got the Dixie Diner and we've got some other establishments in Smithsburg that are just that staple of, those communities outside of Smithsburg.
Phil and Jerry's.
Phil and Jerry's that just come in and they make it a tradition to come in every weekend or once a month, whatever. And we love you guys coming in, so please do that.
Just stop blowing past the speaker.
Yeah, just don't. Yeah, just slow down. But, we're trying to create different events for folks to want to come visit Smithsburg. So Celebrate the Burg will be a great chance for those that have never really learned about the history. I know there's a stop at the Historical Society. You can go down and get, see some of the memorabilia there and then find out a little bit of the history. The Christopher Smith family that settled Smithsburg. Our history with being a makeshift hospital during the Civil War. So when you had soldiers going back and forth to Gettysburg, that was a stop for them to seek treatment. So that's that event. And then in July 19th, we're going to have our Smithsburg Car Show. So this will be the second year that we've had one in Smithsburg. Last year's event Again, another, this area seems to be, a mecca of car shows.
You're not kidding.
And we're going to capture that as well. So we'll have our car show back. We'll have MacBerry Band playing throughout the day.
Where'd you say this is happening?
This will be in Smithsburg. Okay. So it'll be part of downtown. It'll also be in Veterans Park.
Gotcha.
There'll be a drive through the downtown area that'll culminate and finish up in Veterans Park, and then with the MacBerry Band playing in the afternoon following that tour. It's free to the public. There is a $10 registration fee for anybody that wants to participate, in the car show itself. Yeah. They can do that through the visitsmithsburg.com website. But it'll be, again, another opportunity for those folks to come into Smithsburg that may never have come into Smithsburg before.
Nice. Now, I don't know if this is on your list to talk about, and I don't know if it's already passed, actually, the Smithsburg Carnival?
So the carnival will be the last weekend in June. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's the last week of June. And that is run by our Smithsburg Volunteer Fire Company. So
Who does a great job.
Yep, you can find information on the town's website. You can find it on the Smithsburg Community Volunteer Fire Company's own website. Their Facebook page, we were talking about that a moment ago about Facebook. The list of who's going to be there to perform nightly. They've got different concerts throughout that series of the events. All kinds of rides. I forget, as a mayor, I should know this, which night is the Kids Ride Free portion.
Oh, yeah.
So, but all that information can be located. If not, certainly reach out to Town Hall at 301-824-7234, and we can direct you in the right direction to get that information.
The Smithsburg Carnival was always a huge event. Having lived in Waynesboro for going on 30 years now, it was just, even then, you still make it a point to travel. The carnivals in our area are such destinations, and they're not all the same. So the kickoffs used to be Boonesboro Carnival was the kickoff to carnival season. Then you would have the Bester Carnival. I don't know if you remember that when you were growing up. I certainly do. And the late Bud Klein would be there, Santa Claus making French fries, right? And then you would have the Smithsburg Carnival. In between there, usually you'd have the Mont Alta Carnival. So there's so many, and then there's the Williamsport Carnival. And it just, carnival season is, some places get big fairs. Well, we have about 10 carnivals that are amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Frederick has the Frederick Fair, the Great Frederick Fair. Washington County Hagerstown hasn't had anything like that going back decades, generations, right?
Yep.
So yeah, the carnival season, as you call it, kind of takes up that mantle and moves it forward. And you're right. It seems like every year, I don't know if there's like an unspoken kind of contest between all the different companies that put these carnivals on, but it seems like every year they're looking for something new, something to add, a different ride, a different venue, or a band to play at the venue. So the work that our Smithsburg Volunteer Fire Company puts in to host our carnival and the staff and everyone that they get to volunteer and participate is outstanding. It's really a great community event.
That's the key word too, is it's a lot of work, but they're volunteers. So they're not getting paid to do this, and organizing an event of that scale is just a monumental task.
And the town tries to chip in. The last several years we've done, and this started when Jack Kesselring was mayor, but we've tried to do where we'll have the council come in for a night and help serve food out of the concessions. So now I'll be at a Maryland Municipal League conference for the first part of it, so it'll probably be towards the end of the carnival. But yeah, would encourage anyone to come out and participate in not just ours, but all of the carnivals.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of those dollars come right back into your community.
They sure do. Most of them are run by the fire companies.
Exactly.
And the hose companies and EMS. Now, when it comes to Smithsburg's carnival, most carnivals are known for something food-wise. What does Smithsburg have? I believe it's the ham sandwiches?
They do. Okay. So, and to be honest with you, a lot of the food that's at the concession is out of this world.
Oh, yeah.
So if you love concession foods, just the fries, the ham sandwich, it's all amazing.
Yes.
Again, how volunteers put all this together and working in the concession stand and seeing half the time I feel like I'm in the way. Right? I'm just handing food over and I still feel like I'm in the way.
But boy, it's a system that's been there for years.
It is a system that has been there for years, and they know what they're doing. And again, it's a really great community event because not only are bringing in, the community firefighters, in some instances the town and our staff, but you see a lot of business leaders and owners get in and actually help and do a lot of the work. And civic organizations related to, like the Lions Club and the Scouts, and all of them are working very hard to, again, create as much profit as we can, because it all does come back to benefit the communities.
Well, not to mention, it's getting in front of the people in the community you serve.
Exactly.
And the people you want to serve. So if you're a business leader, I can't imagine a better place to be than in front of your potential and current customers.
Right, and it's the same thing that we try to do with the Economic Development Commission. You know, if the only time these folks come into Smithsburg is during the carnival, this is a great opportunity to retain and get them to come back in for future visits, future purchases, or again, make Smithsburg part of their community and maybe one day live in that community.
Entertainment's great. It is always just how many days is Smithsburg Carnival this year?
Smithsburg Day runs 5 days.
Okay.
So it'll start on that Monday and run all the way through the end of that week. And then it typically culminates with fireworks at the end of it. So again, it's a big draw. Everyone, marks that on their calendar so they can be in town to at least go down and partake in at least one day, if not more.
Yeah, my daughter will be bugging me. She just loves. I think she's making it a quest to hit up all the carnivals.
That's great.
At least she asks.
Well, then I guess we'll have to come back in the fall and talk about what she felt was the best.
Okay,
and I'm sure Smithsburg's going to be up there.
It would have to be. It would have to be. So, Donnie, before we let you go, what else is on the horizon? What else should we know about with Smithsburg?
Well, the other big thing is then in the fall, late fall, would be Smithsburg Steam and Craft Show. So that's going to be that last weekend in September. That's the largest parade of tractors through Washington County. I believe this will be the 51st year of the event. Okay. So they're already making preps for that, and a lot of those proceeds go to benefit the athletic boosters and the Smithsburg High School facilities. It was a monumental partner in getting the stadium, the new stadium turf and the field designs and things like that going on at the stadium. So that'll be our largest weekend of folks coming in. And then after that, we'll have our Cinnamon Bun Fun Run that the police department puts on as part of a joint effort with our Shop on the Cop program that we do in December. So as you stated at the onset, there are a ton of things to do in Smithsburg and really in a lot of your small towns throughout Washington County.
Yeah, the Steam and Craft Show, Donnie, just to put the bug in your ear, WAYZ, our sister station, used to do live broadcasts there during the Steam and Craft Show. So we might need to bring that back because it was a lot of fun.
You might, and get yourself some leopard stew. I know that's the big thing there, and it goes really, really fast.
So. It does, and boy, it goes down smooth too, buddy.
There you go.
Tastes great. All right, Donnie, thank you so much for joining us today. Let's meet the mayor on Let's Talk Tri-State, and we're so thankful that you joined us today on Let's Talk Tri-State.
Let's Talk Tri-State.
If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming episode of Let's Talk Tri-State, call 717-597-9200 or email letstalk@921thegoat.com.